Weekly Word 178. I haven't done a weekly word in 2025, and frankly, it had been a long time looking back on 2024 since I've done a word. Reflecting today on the power of reflection. Pun intended, perhaps. And that's the weekly word that I came across was just this idea of reflection. Got introduced to this cold plunge concept by Joe a few years back, and it took me until May of 24 to even really immerse myself in it. Pun intended. I thought about the weekly word being plunge, but ultimately, when I plunge, I reflect, I relax, I really just think about what was, what is, and what will be. And so, as I was thinking about the whole journey of Weekly Word and what it's meant to me over the past 10 years, as part of my reflection, I figured maybe I should do a weekly word on reflection. So, the past few weekly words have included words like movement, movement of the mind, of the body, of the soul, of emotion, moving yourself to the point of crying, to the point of laughing, to the point of joy, moving yourself out of anger, being moved into anger. It's also talked a lot about grief. 2 weekly words ago was grief, and I've talked about my act of grieving, instilling courage as being a form of magic. I've talked about that, gosh, for a whole lot throughout the weekly words. And another one is legacy. That was 3 weekly words ago. So you had legacy, then you had grief, and then you had movement. And I think it's by no surprise that those are the last 3 weekly words, even though they span years. Because when it's all said and done, like the idea of legacy, what we want, I think the world, our family, our circles, our communities to remember us for and by when we're gone. What have we built? What have we left here better than it was before our time? A lot of times that's only done through action, it's done through service, it's done through intentional actions. In the case of Ainsley, like her legacy was done by her being. And that's just special and amazing, and I've reflected on that. Of course, grief is something I reflect on when I think about the power of not just grieving loss, but grieving things, concepts, ideas, events, whether it's diagnoses or Briley moving out of the house or Camden moving out of the house, and the grieving loss of something that was a norm. And then movement. Ultimately, that one is the one. Like the movement of the mind and the body. Like the past week has been amazing. I'm coming to you on 26th December. And dare I say, I actually went for a run today and have concepts running around my head about can I just do a daily movement streak that includes reflection and walking and running. And I'm like, well, I actually do that. But if I remove the walking piece, because we walk the dog, I have to make the movement more intentional. And maybe that's something that's ahead. But ultimately, weekly word today is about taking time to reflect about what was, what is, and what will be, and knowing that doing so requires you to be intentional about it. I find that my ability to reflect happens when I'm moving, which is kind of weird because what is reflection but movement of the mind? But I feel like I have to move the body, the mind, and the emotion, the soul, the spirit, in order to effectively achieve the ultimate reflection. Maybe I'm asking too much of myself, but when I do move my body, my mind, my emotion follows. And through that emotion is intentional and real and raw reflection brought on by actively grieving, legacy, movement, and ultimately the thing that you put the button on top and just celebrate from the highest forms of the mountains, gratitude. 5 minutes of weekly word today. I think that's the number atop the screen over there. It's more about me just rambling in 50-degree water here. Is it rambling? No. Weekly word has always been about stream of consciousness and capturing it and documenting it and uploading it and doing it in a way where you never ever ever can delete it. It's always there. And man, it has proven so helpful for me over the years to be able to go back to YouTube on the Ainsley's Angels channel and find the playlist Weekly Word. And when I go there, I'm able to actually like reflect upon 10 years of raw stream of consciousness on a myriad of topics. So many, so special, man. My reflection right in this moment is I'm so grateful that I started doing that years ago. And although I somewhat miss that I don't do it as regularly, I have concluded earlier today that like it's okay to not do it all the time and capture a weekly word all the time, because frankly sometimes you say the same thing over and over again. And I love the way this thing's structured because it's spread out over time, which gives you different snapshots and different filters to pour today through. And it also gives me different perspectives to look back upon. And I told somebody years ago that, like, how cool is it that Weekly Word essentially is a form of my legacy, because it captures my raw emotion and my stream of consciousness over a 10-year period for people that I love or will love me or will want to learn about me, can come and learn about me in a very unabbreviated 7 minutes. And that's funny too, because Weekly Word was supposed to be something that was only 2 to 3 minutes and then upload it. But sometimes you can deviate. Sometimes you can feel free to just fly, to just spread your wings and fly for as long as you need to fly. Right now I feel like I'm flying because my body's got a bit of warmness around it and I don't really want to move because when I move it's going to be cold again. But movement. All right. Nobody wants to see your bare body, Rooster, but you know what? It's what God gave me. So if you're offended by my hairy chest or my wrinkles or my rolls, then so be it. But Weekly Word 178. Reflection. Wow.